Hello everyone, let's take a quick tour of Microsoft PowerApps, and I'll demonstrate how you can use PowerApps to create data-driven mobile apps that are based on your business needs or business requirements. So what are PowerApps? PowerApps basically is a cloud service for building data-driven business applications which run in the browser, on web, or also on mobile. It is a low-code, no-code solution or a rapid application development platform. So RAD, low-code, no-code platform means you can develop these apps with very little code, and it's mostly suitable for data-driven applications. That is, applications where you have a data model and you need to put forms over that data model. So it is definitely for model-first type development, not for things like games and stuff like that. PowerApps uses an N-tier microservices model. The presentation layer are the clients. These are mobile or web clients, so they could be iPhone, Android, on mobile, or they can be any browser. The business logic is handled by the PowerApps website itself, where you can create the Canvas app in PowerApps, and you can also, if you need complicated business logic, you can use Power Automate. Power Automate lets you do things like trigger off text messages or push notifications. You can also validate credit cards or have the Power App take a picture of something with the phone. Whoops. Take a picture of something with the phone, and then that picture is run through a machine learning algorithm that would then extract maybe some text or information from the picture. That can all be done with Power Automate. And all this stuff is in the Azure cloud, by the way. So the data logic is implemented in PowerApps through connectors. And connectors connect to a variety of different sources, whether it's Microsoft SQL Server or some other DBMS like Oracle or Postgres or MySQL, but can also connect to a bunch of other types of sources such as Salesforce or just plain old Excel or a Google Doc on Google Drive. It can also connect to a REST service. So there's lots of different styles of connectors that are out there that you can leverage in your application, so you don't need to, with one Power App, just have one database. It can be stored in lots of different artifacts. The data source works through the connector. So the data source ends up giving you access to a table in SQL Server, or maybe it gives you access to a sheet in Excel, for example, and that ends up being the tabular set of data that you can then use to render the UI within PowerApps. It's basically how it works. So data sources, connections, and gateways. This is an important concept to understand if you're going to do any PowerApps. So a data source is fundamentally rows and columns of a table. It comes from a variety of places. The places that it comes from specifically are the connection, and the connection are the credentials, the username, the password, the server name, whatever the resource may be that you're trying to access. Maybe it's a weather service, maybe it's Google Drive, getting the permissions to the resource. And then the connector is the type of connection. So are you connecting to SQL Server? Are you connecting to Excel? Are you connecting to MySQL? Are you connecting to MSN Weather, etc.? So depending on what you're connecting to, you first pick the connector. Then from the connector, you establish a very specific connection. So I say, I'm going to connect to Excel. And then you say, well, where is that Excel sheet? And then within that Excel sheet, you pick out one of the Excel tabs, and that ends up being your data source. There's also this concept of a gateway, and a gateway allows you to access systems like Microsoft SQL Server or SharePoint when they exist on premises. So they exist in your corporate data center behind a firewall, and you need to somehow access them so that you can use them within the PowerApps framework, because PowerApps is not something that you can install and use in your own data center. It is a cloud service in Azure, or it's actually in Office 365. So we have connector, connections, data source. So example, you might have Excel as the connection, Excel workbook as the connector on OneDrive, and then the tab in the Excel sheet is the data source. Or you might have SQL Server, your Azure SQL DB, and then the table is the data source. The PowerApps programming model is pretty simple to understand. It's tree-based, and what you have going on here is you have the app, and then the app consists of one or more screens. So in this example, I have a browse screen, a detail screen, and an edit screen. And then the screen contains usually either a form where you can show or edit data, or it contains a gallery which allows you to show many pieces of data, or it contains a data table, which is exactly how it sounds. If you have a form or a gallery, you can also include additional controls to lay out the data in a very specific way. And all the controls are listed over here. So the ones in bold, these controls here are all data-oriented controls. So you have galleries, you have forms, and then inside the form are cards. A card is a label and a control. So you might have, customer name and then a drop down that lists all the different customers. Or you might have order quantity and then a slider that represents the order quantity. So order quantity is the label, the slider is the value. Those together are in a card and they represent the field on the form. And then all these other controls down here, labels, text box, these are all familiar to you. I'm sure you've seen these affordances before in other systems and services. Combo box, date picker, slider, radio, checkbox. They're all just ways that you can interact with the data. So a couple of key concepts. You have a screen. On the screen, you might add a gallery. This is an example of a gallery. What you see when you're building a gallery is the actual data in your data source. However, the first element in the gallery is the one that's configurable. So if I wanted to, for example, take this Packers and make it red instead, all I need to do is edit it here and it will change in all the other elements of the gallery. It's like the gallery is like this many list of items, right? And then you just edit one of them and it applies to all of them. It's, again, display only. So the edit form is the answer to where you need to, you got something in the gallery, you select it, then you end up here and you can go ahead and manipulate it. And each of these little elements that have label and value are cards. And the card is just a control pair of label and then the actual underlying control from the table. So what makes this so low code / no code is basically the way it works, the way you program in PowerApps is you set properties, and these are common properties of controls. You have an onSelect property, which, like when you push a button, what happens, right? Or when maybe you or tap in an area of the gallery, what should happen? And then you have items, and items choose what displays from the data source. So you have an items property on a drop-down list because it displays many things. You have an items property on a gallery because that displays many things. But there isn't an items property on a text box because it only displays one thing. Text is what should be displayed. So text could be a physical thing like Mike, or it could say, don't show Mike, but show the column first name from this table, right? So there's lots of different ways that you can display something in text. Default is what displays when a new record is being added, and then update is what gets applied to the data source when the control value changes. So it's an expression or a value that actually gets put into the update. On the function side, there's tons of functions, and I can't possibly cover them all here, although you will see many of them in the walkthrough. This link here will take you to a reference to all of the PowerApps functions that are out there. Basically, what you're doing is you're going into a property like onSelect, and then you might choose a function like navigate, and then you navigate to another screen. And basically, when you push the button, it goes from one screen to another. That's how it works. That's the low-code part of it. So now what we're going to do is a walkthrough, and in this walkthrough, what I'm going to do is I will take an app, FudgeMart, which has some SQL code and stuff like that. That's already in an Azure database that I made, and the lab walks you through how to do that. And what I will do is I will demonstrate how to build a PowerApp around vacation requests. So, you have like this internal employee app where, an employee would like to make a request for a vacation and then a manager has to approve that request. That's functionally what we're going to try to implement in PowerApps here. Okay, so let's start with the main menu screen. And I'm going to jump right out into PowerApps and build this. So I'll give you an opportunity to see what it is I'm making. All right, here I am out at the makepowerapps.com website. I am logged in with my Azure, not my Azure account, but my Office 365 account, which is the same as my Azure account. But anyway, I'm going to make a new Power App. I'm going to make a blank canvas app down here. There's other kinds of apps, but this seems to be the easiest one to do. I'm going to make a phone app, and we're going to call this Fudge Mart Demo. Just going to call it Fudge Mart Demo. And there we go, and it's grinding away, getting things ready for me. Eventually I'll get to the designer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just skip this whole page here, and just now I'm on a blank page. And you can see I have an app, and then I have screen 1. And the app has some properties over here. You know, so on start of the app, how about we navigate to screen 1? See how that works? That's what we call it low code. As long as you know what the function name is, you're in good shape. Now I'm going to rename this screen 1 because screen 1's a horrible name for it, and I'm going to call it screen main menu. And one of the things you'll notice immediately about PowerApps is it's contextual. It knew that I renamed this, so it went out and found every instance of screen 1 and renamed it for me. So now it says navigate screen main menu. And when I run the app, up here this button runs the app, previews the app, I get an empty app. Now let's make something interesting happen. Let's go ahead and add some buttons to the app. So I'm going to go up here to insert, and then there's button. Let's just put a couple of buttons on there. I'll bring them down here. This button here is going to say there's a property on a button called the text property. See, it says button. That's kind of a lame property, right? I'm going to call this property employee directory. And it's literal, so I got to put it in quotes. There we go. And let's make this button down here. I'll change this button to vacation requests. Good. Now, I could go ahead and name these buttons. See, it says button 2, button 1. I could call this one button employee directly, button vacation request. I could do that. I'm not going to do that right now. Usually, as I build out my own Power App, I do that. But for the sake of expedience here, I'm going to not mess around with that. Okay. So let's go ahead and add the FudgeMart logo to the back of this thing. I'm going to take this screen here, and I'm going to go to Properties and Background Image, and then add an image file. And then I have one on my desktop somewhere that I want to use. I'll grab it. And I think I have this one here. Now, I don't like the way that worked because, see, it went right in the back. I want to put it more to the top. So I'm going to remove that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, instead of putting it in the background like that, I'm going to add, I guess I could make it go to the top, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image. So media, image. And then in that image, I'm going to pick that transparent logo. And then I can move that where I want. Like so. Yeah, that looks nice. And then I'll make the whole thing, let's change that background. Where's that background? And let's pick light green. And then let's take this background and let's make that light green too. Right here. There. That looks pretty good. Now, when I click this button, I want it to do something, right? So I'm going to make another screen. But we'll do that in a sec, because right now I don't have any data. All right, so next thing I need to do is I need to connect some data to my app so that I can, get an employee directory and process these vacation requests. And what I'm going to do is I am going to connect to my SQL Server on Azure, and then I will add these two tables as data sources. All right, so I'm going to go click on this guy here. This is the data one. And then I go under connectors, and here's SQL Server. And I hit add connection. And then in here, I'm going to pick SQL Server authentication, because this is how my Azure is set up. And I'm going to connect directly. And then my database name is this. My server name is this. And my database name is this. And my username is this. And this is my password, which you will not see. And that will allow me to connect to that SQL Server that's now running in Azure. It takes a bit because I'm cheap and I didn't pay for a really good instance of SQL Server. I have one of these shared on-demand type instances, so it's a little slow, but that's all right. It'll wake up, and then when it wakes up, it'll connect. But it is certainly not going to win any awards. Now, once you're using it, it's fine. It's just when it sits idle, it pauses itself, and then it has to come back and say, all right, I'm alive. All right, it finally woke up, and here we are. I'm at the choose table, and I need to bring in FudgeMart employees and FudgeMart vacation requests. Those are the two tables I'm going to need. When I do that over here, I get this in your app, and I see that there are two connections. And at any time I can refresh these. And again, because I'm using the very, very low tier SQL Server, usually I refresh them before I start. Okay, so now that I've got those tables made, what's next that I have to do? All right, let's make this employees screen here, and this is going to use a gallery and a list screen. So let's dive right into it. All right, I'm out here, and I'm going to do a new screen, and this time I'm going to pick a list, and it will create a gallery for me. And if I click down in the gallery, you'll see that it doesn't have a data source selected. I need to pick one. So I'm going to pick FudgeMart employees as my data source. And then it starts to fill in some information for me in the gallery already. And let's tie up the navigation at this point. So let's go up here to this title. And I'm going to move this over a bit and call this employees. And let's add one of these little icon guys, right? So I go to icons, and then let's pick this icon here, back, this one here. That's good. I'll stick it right up there like that. And what I want to do with this is I want to make it white. And now I want to add an event to this. So if I go here to advanced, what I want to happen is when you select that back button, I actually want it to go back. So I'm going to type in back. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the other screen, the main menu, and this employee directory. When you select that one, I'm going to navigate to, and it's screen 2. It's a horrible name for it. We're going to change that. Rename this. Let's call this screen employees. Good. Now you might want to try it out. So let's give it a whirl. Let's go back to the main menu. Let's hit the play button. Employee directory. There it is. Go back. There you go. All right. You got some navigation built in. Now, nothing else really works. You know, this the search doesn't work, the sort doesn't work, you know, the refresh, none of these things work. Okay, let's configure this stuff. So the gallery, I don't have any pictures of employees. I just want their names, their job title, and their department. So let's fix that. So if I go to the gallery, this is the one element in the gallery. This is the whole gallery. See, it says Browse Gallery 1. This says Subtitle 1. Browse Gallery 1. I go here to Properties, and I hit See Fields. Edit those fields. And I have an image in here. I don't want an image. So I'm going to change this layout to just title and subtitle. Like that. And it reorganizes my layout. And then where it says electronics, I want to show their name. So the electronics one is department. I'm going to change that to say employee name, first name. And then this one down here, this is going to be their job title. There. And what I'm going to do is I want this to say aerial photo, not aerial. Right? Or in this one, I want to say Dustin DeWind, because that's his full name. So how do I fix that? If I go to this particular control, the property that you'll see for that control is that it shows the text is this item employee first name. What I wanted to do is show their first name and their last name, so I'm going to concatenate those together. I'm going to say this item first name, and let's just for fun put an exclamation mark on there. So see, it says Sale, Dustin, Sandy with an exclamation mark. So let's continue this rather than showing the exclamation mark. Let's do a space, and then let's do this item, employee, last name. There. Now it says aerial photo. That's good. Jobs. That's good. Now I can come over here to this tree if I want. And it's kind of, my face is in the way. But down here where I have title and subtitle, see it says subtitle. I can rename this. Like this could be subtitle, job title. It gives me a better indication of what it is, right? And then this one could be title, full name. That'll help me remember what these guys are, right? And let's add one more. Let's add, I'm going to shrink this down a bit. And watch, you can make this little, there we go. And then I'm going to add another label. What I'm going to do is going to go up here, add a label. And I've got this label in here. And it says Arial, because it by default picked the first name. And you can see I have a new label up here. I'm just going to call this label department. And for this one, I'm going to pick department. There. And there you have it. Let's play it. There's all the employees and their job titles and departments. And I can hit the back button and go back. Pretty cool. So we're not done yet. We need to change some properties to get the search to work. I want to make this search work. Well, what's going on there is the gallery has a property called items. See that? And the items property right now just says use this table. Well, instead of using the table, how about we do something else? How about we do this? How about we search? Oh, I gotta spell it right. Search. What do we want to search? I want to search this. Okay. And what do I want to search for? Now, this is all cramped over here, so I can go up here and use this up here, right? I can go, you know, this down here and this up here, same thing. So it says, what text do I want to search for? Well, this guy here, what is the name of this guy here? This is text search box. So text search box 1. And I want whatever the text is in that. And what do I want to search? I want to search, let's search the first name. Why not also search the department? Oh, not birth date. Department. How about the last name? Put every column you want to search over here. Last name. And let's throw in job title for good measure. Job title. Sometimes it's easier to just type it rather than use that suggestive feature. And then I got to finish it off with a parenthesis so that they match up. See that and that match up. Okay. And let's give it a try here. There's everybody. Let's do hard. There's all the people in the hardware department. Let's try their last name begins with D, A, Dustin, DeWin, Sarah. I don't know. Oh, doctor in the house. Let's try me. Where's me here? Let's try bill me later. Let's try sales. Let's try store manager. Store. There we go. Pretty cool. It works. The search works. Let's get the sort to work while we're at it. So again, this same item property, we want to add a sort to it. What do we want to sort? We want to sort the search. So we want to sort all of this. So I want to do the following. I want to say sort by columns. That's the function name that I want. And what do I want to sort? That. Okay. And how am I going to sort this? Well, I'm going to sort it. You can only sort it by one thing. So let's sort it by employee first name. And I'm running out of space. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger here. Whoops. I clicked off of it, which I am known to do. There we go. Come on. It's an exercise in futility. And which way do I want to sort it? Ascending or descending? So let's just put ascending here. And let's run it. And let's hit sort. Oh, this doesn't do anything. They are sorted, but the button doesn't do anything. All right, well, let's make the button do something. Rather than just sorting it ascending or descending, let's sort it by if you choose sort descending, then sort it descending. Otherwise, sort it ascending. That should work a little better. Okay, sort, sort, sort. See that? Now it's sorting. And we can search house. There we go. And then sort, sort, sort. Fun. Fun. Now, this isn't going to do anything. This details button isn't going to do anything. I don't want that. This add button, I also don't want that. But we'll take care of those at some other time. Let's just keep moving on with the demo. All right, there are so many features that we're going to add to vacation requests that it's going to need its own screen. So it's time to have at it again back in PowerApps. There seems to really be no good place to put my head, so I just kind of put me in between. Anyway, let's add a new screen here. We're going to add another new screen, make it blank. All right, and then this one is going to have an image of the Eiffel Tower on the back, so I'm gonna handle that. And an image, this Eiffel Tower one. There we go. Looks really kind of slick. Then I'm going to add some buttons here. I'm going to add some buttons here. And this is going to say one for each. This is the fun part of no code, dragging around with your mouse. And we'll put one more up here. There we go. And then this one's going to say new request, new vacay request. And then this one would say pending. Maybe not. Pending. request. And this one should say approved request. All right. And let's put a header at top. So I'm going to go up here to icons, and then down here there's shapes. Down here in the bottom, it'll have some shapes. I can take a rectangle. There we go. Put that rectangle right up here like this. It's kind of crazy that that's where it is, but whatever. All right, I got my rectangle in there, and then I need to add a label. And that label is going to be a little bigger. Let's change that font size to maybe, I don't know, 28. And the text is going to say vacation request. And I probably want to center it, so I'm going to have fun with alignment. And let's change the font color to white, like that. There we go. Put that right there, like that. And maybe bold. Why not? Make it bold. There. Vacation requests. And then I'm going to add to that a little back button, right? I'm going to add that in there. So let's go back up to our icons and grab that back button again. All right, put that right here, right there. You gotta add the sound effects or else it doesn't work. And we'll make this back button, again, this back button is gonna go back. So it, on select, we're gonna go back. I'm gonna do it up here. We're gonna go back. And then check this out, rather than playing it, I can hit the Alt button on the keyboard, and now I can interact with my form. Rather than clicking on this and selecting it, I can hit Alt and it actually goes back. So now I can set this vacation request one. I can set the vacation request form. And change that on select to navigate to, oh, it's screen one again. Blah. It's a horrible name for it. Again, just change it. Change that screen one here. Let's rename that to screen menu vacay. All right, so I now have a pretty nice looking app here. I'm going to run it. Go back, right? Oh, I thought I coded that. I guess I didn't. Oh, you know why I can't go back? Because that's not where I started from, right? So I have to start from the main menu. Employee directory, go back. Vacation requests, go back. Okay, looking good. All right. What's next? I can't wait to find out. All right, looks like next is another screen. We have to make a screen that shows the pending vacation requests, the outstanding vacation requests. It should be a list. It should have the gallery source here. It should have fields like name, employee date, days, like hike in the woods. I want to go on that date for that many days. And I should also maybe add some searching and sorting like I did before, and then this button should actually take me to a details screen. And this button should add, but we'll get there eventually. Okay, let's make this screen next. Alrighty, new screen, here we go, list. And let's start with the basics. What is the source of this? Well, it's going to be FudgeMart vacation requests. And there's already some vacation requests in here. I did this so it would be sort of easy to use the Power App because you want to make sure there's some data in there. And let's just fool around here with the gallery a bit. We want to not use image. And we want to have 3 values. We want to have the request name first. That's this one. And then underneath that, we should have, oh, this one should be their name. So the employee ID. I'll show you how to make their name in a second. This one should be the name of the request. And then the third one should be the date. the requested date, start date. There it is. Okay, that's good enough for now. What we'll do is we'll spruce this up a bit. But before we do that, let's add our back button and all that other stuff. So let's call this request. Let's move this over. Add a back button here. Want to make sure your navigation's in there. And let's get it working. So this guy, advanced, on select, back. Now, I don't want to show every request. I just want to show the requests where it hasn't been approved, right? And it hasn't been approved when it hasn't been assigned to a manager and has an approved date. So I do need to fix that, but I will fix that in a bit. First of all, let's get this ID to instead show a name, right? Because it says employee ID, but what I want it to show is a name. So I'm going to change this text property, and instead of using this ID, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a lookup. I'm going to say, hey, look up. And then what do I want to look up in FudgeMart employees? Where do I want to look up? I want to look up when the employee ID is equal to the request employee ID. And then what do I want to show when that happens? I want to show the employee first name. How's that? There we go. Ariel Isabel Sale. Now, it'd be nice to show their last name, too. So, first name and the employee last name. There we go. Now we're cooking. So, I've got the employee name and then what they're doing. You know, this one is the foo request. And then now I can play around with this. So this just says start date. Well, here's how you format these dates. There's a function called the text function, and the text function can be used to format just about anything. So in here, I'm going to put in what I want to format and how do I want to format it. Let's do it year, month, day. Let's do it that way. There we go. Now, I also wanted to include the number of days, right? So I'm going to do this all in one shot. And for and this item dot number of days and the word days. Oh, that deserves a bigger font. I gotta say, that's nice. I'm gonna make this a 20 font. Make this a 20 font. That deserves to look better than that. There we go. And let's make this one here a 24 font. There we go. That looks good. So, you know, this request was by Aerial Photo. The request name is Foo. They want to go on vacation on this date for 8 days. Pretty neat. All right, let's fix the sorting and the searching and the filtering and stuff like that. Because right now, this gallery just uses as its items the whole table. So I can use a filter, and say, hey, why don't you filter this? And then I can specify a condition, right? So I can say where the employee ID is a 5. And then that would only show you Isabel Gunnering because she's the only person with employee ID 5. What I want to do is show them where the request approved by employee ID is null. I don't think there is an is null. See that? So let's try this. Let's try, I think there's a function is blank. Let's try that. And is blank, we're going to say that. Let's see what that does. There we go. So these show up because they haven't been approved, because there is no employee that has approved them. No employee approved them, so therefore they show up here. Later on, when we write the approval process, that will go away, and they will disappear off this screen because of that. Now you might notice there's a little warning here, right? See this little warning here? And then if you tap on it, and then hit edit in formula bar, it takes you to the thing that it's complaining about. And it's right here. And it says, the warning says, the highlighted part of this formula might not work correctly with large data sets. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that. It seems to be a warning that I don't have to pay attention to right now. Now this ends up being the source. So if I want to filter by this, I now have to take this whole thing and treat it like the table and say search this. This is what I don't like about PowerApps, is all this nesting that goes on. And then what am I searching through? The text search box 2, right, which is right here on screen 2. And I need the whatever text you type in that, and I'm going to search that against what? Well, let's search it against, let's just search, make it easy, and just search it against request name. We can go crazy here, but we're not going to. So let's try it now. And then I'm going to search for foo. See that? Foo. There we go. Diz. There we go. See, it's working. Cool. And let's get the sort working again. And the sort is going to be the same pattern as you saw before. I'm going to take all of this, treat it like the items, and then I'm going to say sort by columns. What am I sorting by columns? This. And what do I want to sort it by? Request name. And how do I want to sort it? Well, it depends on if you have pushed sort descending, right? If you push that, and I'm doing something wrong, but boy, I'll tell you what, there's a lot here. So let me blast this out. Let me just make sure my parentheses are good. That parenthesis is good. I need one more parenthesis. There. Okay. Now, oh wait. There. And then I want to, oh, I forgot a quote. There we go. If sort by descending 1, and what am I going to do about it? I am going to say descending, ascending. This is probably the hardest part of using these no-code solutions is you do got to write some code to plumb it all together, and boy, it can be hairy at times. Let's see if I got it working. Okay, I got it. You would think I had done this before. I'll run it, and let's sort them. Boom, boom. They sort. They're sorting by this value: foo, Disney, demo, right? So demo first. Demo, Disney, foo. And then I can put in a D, and then now I just get the D's, and I can just sort the D's. Okay, enough of that nonsense. Okay. Let's move on, because there's more, right? There's more to do. I got to make this button do something. I got to make it add. All right, we'll get there. Okay, it looks like next what we need to do is make this detail screen. And this is actually, it takes a little bit of work to do this. So we're going to make this detail screen here. It's going to have a delete button that allows you to delete a request. It'll have a pencil button that allows you to edit a request, a back button, and then it'll have a button that will allow you to approve the request, which you will write later on. That will be something that you do on your own. All right, well, let's go back to PowerApps again. This screen's going to be a little different. So we will go up to new screen, and this time we're going to pick a form. And when we pick a form, you'll see we get this click common pattern up here. And what happens is we have this edit form. See this edit form? We don't want an edit form in this case what we want is a view form, a display form. So I'm going to delete out the edit form, and then I'm going to go up here to forms, and I'm going to add a display form. And so now under my screen, which I will probably want to rename this screen, let's call this screen view vacation request. I have my form viewer, and I'm going to rename this form viewer vacation request. Now, this is really kind of an interesting little tidbit here. So when I go here, you'll see it has no data source and it has no item. So I have to set those. So here we go. Let's connect it to data. And we are going to connect this to vacation requests. And in here, let's add, we're going to need the request name. We're going to need the who made the request. We're going to need the number of days, the start date. And I'm going to bring in this approved employee ID, and I'm going to show you why in a sec. That's what I need here. I'm going to add all those. And you'll see what it does is it automatically generates like a template for you of labels. And I can mess around changing these labels around, but I'm not going to do that right this minute. What I want to do is get the navigation sort of working the way I want. So I'm going to go back here to advanced, and when you go back to advanced, the item property is still empty right there, right? So what it doesn't know is what item am I looking at right now. So this is how you do it. You actually go back to that gallery, right? So think back to that gallery that was in Screen Vacation Requests. It's called Browse Gallery 2, which is a horrible name for it. I'm going to rename this guy to Browse Gallery Vacation Request. So that when I go over here on this detail page, which is showing me nothing, I can go over to the properties for it, and I can take the item property, and I can say, well, you're going to be Browse Gallery Vacation Requests dot selected. So whichever vacation request is selected, show me that one. And now all of a sudden you see data. Why? Well, it's because on the previous screen, that's the one that was selected. Now it looks like there's an error here. Let's see what this says. So it says on select, submit this form, right? So we don't want to do this because this is a view form, not an edit form. So that's what this button says here. That's not what we're going to do. We're actually going to have a couple of other buttons here. We're going to have a button here that will edit, and then we're going to have a button that is going to delete. So we're not going to do this right now. So what you can do is take this and just give it a false. And that will say, all right, when you select me, just do nothing. And so that error goes away. Let's change this guy, right? So right now, this icon is icon cancel. Let's change it to icon back. There's arrow, back arrow. That's it, back arrow, right? So check this out. I change it here, and poof, gives me the right icon there. And what am I going to do when I select this? I'm going to go back, right? Good. And let's give it a title of vacation request. And this, I want to move this over a bit. And let's make a copy of this. Paste it. So now I have two of them. And then this one here, I want to make a delete. So I'm going to change the icon to delete. Trash can. Yeah, I never know what these icons are. And then this one's going to be probably a pencil. Icon edit. Edit. It's impossible to figure out what they call these things. There. Now, they both don't do anything, but that's okay for now. And these aren't set up the way I want, but that's okay for now. But let's just make sure my navigation works. So I'm going to go back to the vacation requests screen, this guy here. Now, what happens when I click this button here? It says do whatever the parent does. So its parent is this guy here. What happens when I click this? Nothing. So when I click this one, what do I want to do? I want to navigate to, I didn't name that screen, did I? Oh, I did name that screen. Screen view vacation request. Let's give it a whirl. Let's give it a try here. Let me take that out. Aerial photo. Click the button. That's her vacation request. Foo. Go back. Isabel Gunnering. Click the button. That's her vacation request because it says Disney. Now, I'd love it for it to say her name here, right? Rather than just saying 5. So let's fix all of that. So I go here. Now, you'll notice that the card is locked. See the little lock? The lock means you cannot change any of these. You can change them all you want, but they'll just change themselves back unless you unlock them. So this is one of the things you just have to know. If you're okay with the way it is and using the defaults, fine. If you're not okay with the defaults, unlock it. Now, before you unlock it, what you want to do is, if you go to properties, you can, to the best of your ability, fiddle with some of these fields. So this control type here, I just want to view the text. This control type here, I might want a drop down or something, right? But that's not what we're doing here. But for now, let's just leave these the way they are and unlock them all. I'm going to unlock every single one of them eventually as I go ahead and want to customize the way they look. All right, let's get busy. So this one, I want it to say request name. Oh, geez. Boy, I'll tell you what. Request name. And this one, I want it to say requested by employee. It's being a little funky here. I'm going to press enter. Nope, that doesn't do it. Go up here in the function. There we go. All right, so this one here says the text is parent default. So what's the parent? Well, the parent, if you look in the tree, the parent is this card. And the card, the value here, the default is request employee ID. So if I want to override the default, what I can do is I can come back down to the value. And rather than using text parent default, I can say lookup. We're going to do our lookup again. And we're going to look up in where? Fudge Mart employees. And what are we going to look up? Well, we're going to, when the employee ID equals this item dot request employee ID, then please show me the employee first name and a space and the employee last name. Now, I certainly could have made a view and made this a lot easier on me and continue to look up the view than the table, but I'm just doing a demo here. So there you have it. Now you've got their name, right? You got request name Disney, requested by employee Isabel Gunnering. Now let's change around the rest of this stuff. This one says request number of days here. Request number of days. Let's change that around. Requested days. And then let's change this one around to say requested date. And let's change our date around again right here. Again, we're going to take out parent default And we're just going to say, hey, let's do some text. Which text do we want to use? This item. Employee start date. Request start date. And then I want to format that year, month, day, day. There. Now this last one here, employee approved by ID. When you know when that's blank, it's not approved. So I'm going to do the following. I'm going to take this one. Oh, it doesn't have a value. Oh, there it does have a value. It's just really scant. I'll make that a little bigger. We blow that up. Let's take that parent default out, and let's put in food. There. Is that? Can I make that bigger now? Oh yeah, I gotta find the. I gotta click on the right thing. Yeah, there we go. Oh boy. Me and clicking don't get along. You know that? I'm not a. There we go. Not what you would call a good clicker. So now that I can see that, I could do this. I can say, hey, if is blank that requests approved ID, then please show, if it's blank, show not approved. Otherwise, show approved. There. And you can see it shows not approved. And let's continue with this guy. There's no easy way around this, by the way. You just gotta... As I joke, rad tools are fun like the first 10 times you use them. Then after you use them the 11th time, you'll be begging to write it in code because it's just so much easier to keep your hands on the keyboard the whole time. But that's just me. That's just Mike being Mike. We won't add the approve request button. We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that later. So let's see what it looks like. Oh, that back button. There we go. And then salad. Quest name, demo, salad, 4 days, on that date, not approved. Isabel Gunring going to Disney. Disney, Isabel Gunring, 8 days, not approved. Cool. Works. Love it. Love it. Let's get those other buttons to work. Right? We got to get this delete button to work. Let's see if we can make that work. So right now it says on select false. What we want to say here is on select, let's remove. What are we removing? What are we removing from? What does it say? Remove. What are we removing from? We're removing from vacation requests. Which one are we removing? Well, the one from browse gallery, vacation requests, whatever one we selected. I know it's weird that we refer to another screen, but this actually makes the most sense because you're going back to another screen to do that. Okay. And we will try this delete button out after we add an add button. Once we get the add feature working, I'll be happy to show you the delete feature. I just don't want to do it quite yet. Oh, look at that. It's edit screen time. So now we're going to make a screen that when we click that pencil, or we click that plus, that button on the main page that says add a new vacation request, it will take us to this screen. And this is going to be an edit screen. And we'll have all the fields that are needed for a user to edit a vacation request. And we'll gussy them up with some nice looking controls. We'll use a calendar control. We'll use a slider. We'll jazz it up. Okay? Okay, back in the PowerApps grind we go. Let's add a new screen. We'll add a form. And this form is going to be called, let's just go for it here, make vacation request. And our edit form needs some data, so let's go take care of business here. It's going to use vacation requests table. Let's edit our fields. And we're going to add our fields in the order that we want them. Request name, the employee's ID, the date, and the number of days. And this is good. This one, employee ID, we'll leave that for now. This one here says date time. Wonder if there's just a date. There isn't. We'll have to fix that. This edit number, can we make that a slider? Here we go. Slider. There we go. Now, we probably should change things around. You can't take 50 days of vacation, right? But all in good time. We'll get that figured out. Hey, let's deal with the important things first, which is, you know, this card's locked, right? This card's locked. This card's locked. A locked card cannot be edited, right? So I know we're going to edit these because I hate request underscore name. I don't want to use that. All right, let's unlock them. Let's unlock the cards. Unlock. 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 All right, request name. Let's fix that. I want it to look like this. Name. And this one should say requesting. That one here should say requesting employee. This one should say whoop. This one should say date, start date. And this one down here should say number of days. All right, let's just go top to bottom. I'm okay with request name the way it is. It's just a text field. Let's fix this to be a drop down. So what I have here right now that I have selected is a text data card value. What I need to do is I want to get rid of that. Maybe I'll leave it there for now and just move it out of the way just so it doesn't shrink up on me. And I'm going to add instead a drop down. See that? Drop down. And we'll put that right there like that. And get rid of that one. That's a little better. So at least a drop down now. If I run it. No, there's no data to display. Ah, I wonder why. Could it be that I never set for this particular edit form? I never set the item? What item is it? I got to go back to that gallery, right? Whichever one is selected. There. Now maybe it'll work the way I want. There. Okay. So pick one of these guys, right? So that's not what I want. I want to list all the employees by name. So I'm going to use some kind of lookup to accomplish this. And it's actually, it can be a little hairy to figure this out. So what I want to do first is let's get this control to display what I want. So the items I want to show in here is not a sample of the data source. What I want to show here is I want the FudgeMart employees, right? I'm going to do it up here. I want to show a column, FudgeMart employees, and I want to show which column. Let's just do the first name. And now it says Ariel. See that? And now I'm at least seeing their names. What I'm not seeing is their last name. So here's the thing: is I can't just say, you know, show column first name, and then I'd love to just put, oh, maybe I can show another column. I didn't think I could do this. Does that work? You learn something new. That's why you always try stuff out. Well, now it's kind of busted. I don't think it knows what to do. Yeah, so what I need to do is combine these columns. So the columns I want to show are actually if I add the columns together from that same source, if I add, let's make a new column called employee name, and let's make that, oh, what's it going to be? It's the usual employee first name and a space. How many times have I done this, right? And employee. I should have wrote a view. This is why you write views, so you don't have to keep doing this. You do this at the data layer. You don't do this in the business logic layer, and then you don't have to keep doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. See, there's a new column that showed up. There's a new column in town called employee name. Where the heck did that come from? It came from the fact that I used a function called add column. Add columns allows you to calculate a column. So the name of the calculated column is this, and it's made up of that. And then now I have their full names in here. Yay, full names, awesome. Okay, I'm not done. Because when you go here and there isn't a current item, what is the default going to be? It's not going to be 1. The default should be, hey, let's look up let me go up here and pick default. Where's default? Let's look up in FudgeMart employees. And you can almost rinse, lather. How many times have I written this lookup, right? Employee ID equals this item, request, employee ID. What am I going to show? Employee first name and a space and employee last name. It's like a broken record. That's how you get good. Is you write it enough, you know you never want to write it again. Now, there's still a couple of problems because this is complaining about something. So what is this complaining about? It says, hey, you need to fix this update. You need to fix this update. And the reason I need to fix the update is because it does not know from Isabel Gunnering that Isabel Gunnering is a 5. So what I need to tell it in the update is I need to say use, what was the name of this control here? It's called drop down 1. It's a horrible name. I should have renamed it, but it's getting a little late for that. So I got to say, yo, drop down 1. Why don't you take your selected and then let's use from your selected your employee ID. And you're like, why is employee ID not available? It just says employee name. I need the ID. So how do I get that? Ugh. Well, here's how you get it. You go back to the control, and when you pick Isabel Gunnering, what do you want the value to be? Right now, the value says employee name. I don't want it to be employee name. I want it to be employee ID, which I do not see out of here, which means I did something wrong somewhere. So let me sort of think this through here. Why do I not see employee ID here? Of course, because I'm not showing it, right? In show columns, let me fix this. Whoop. Clicky, clicky, clicky. In show columns, I'm showing just the employee name. I also want to show the employee ID. If I don't show it, I can't access it, right? So I'm going to add that there. There we go. And then now I can go down here, and when you pick an item, I don't want to use the name. I want to use the ID. There we go. Then when I'm up in the card, I can tell it to select the employee ID like that. And then hopefully that takes away most of the annoyances. There's still something it doesn't like. It doesn't like... You gotta find the little error. Oh, it doesn't like... it was all relative, the Y position, so I'm just gonna take that out. It's just these relatives. And I know I'm probably breaking something by doing that, but there. All right, so now, whoops. It went back to ID here. I think I want employee name there. I want to show the value name, but down in the card level, I want to access the employee ID, which I can still do. Drop-down 1 is a horrible name for this. It doesn't help me remember any of these things, and I probably should fix that. I'm going to call this drop-down. Oh, boy, I accidentally deleted it. That's not what I wanted to do. I want to rename it. Drop-down employee name. There. Okay, now it makes a little more sense. Now let's continue on here. Let's get rid of the times. We don't want the times. We just want a date picker. And we'll move that over like this. And you can see there's some errors here. And so the best thing to do is just go to where the errors are. It says update this. Use the selected date plus all these times. I don't care about the times. I just want the date. So I'm just going to take the times out. Just use the selected date. Let's fix the other one. It's probably a positional thing, and it is, because the hour is in there. And there's probably another positional thing in here somewhere, I'm guessing. You just got to find them. Find them. Yeah, see, it's like use the hour value and the width, for the X. It's just to space it out evenly. I know I'm not doing it right, but that's all right. Fix that. It keeps hopping off. Because I keep pressing enter. I shouldn't be doing that. Come on. Get rid of yourself. There, now we're good to go. All right, let me fix this little bugger there. It needs to be a little bigger. There we go. And let's fix this this slider here. So the slider, it has a min and a max, right? So the minimum vacation days is 1, and then let's say the maximum vacation you can take is 14. So I'm going to make this max like 14. And these min and max, they can be expressions. They don't have to be numbers. They could be some some lookup if you want. It's really kind of cool. All right, now let's get to the nitty gritty. What happens when I click the checkbox? When I click the checkbox, it is going to do what? It is going to submit the form. And then after I submit the form, I probably next want to go back. Right. And what is this guy going to do? This guy is there a cancel form? What's cancel do? I'll just say back. I'm not sure what it's going to do. We'll find out. Back. All right. Okay, I've got it all wired up. Now let's go wire up the very beginning of this thing. Oh, another thing that bothers me. Edit form is a horrible name, and screen 1. Let's do this thing justice. Let's rename this guy here to screen edit vacation request, and then this one is going to be edit form vacation request. Good. And last but not least, let's go hook up the main the vacation menu. See, it says new vacation request. So we got to hook this thing up now. All right, on select. How about on select here, we do a new form. And let's do that edit vacation request form. Okay, and then now that we've made a new form, we need to navigate to which form? The screen edit vacation request. So you use the same edit screen to do new screens. You just trigger a new form first. So this says first do this, then do that. All right, that takes care of that. Then we've got pen. Let's just see what we've got. Let's see how far we've come here. Let's go back way to the main menu. Let's give it a run. Employee directory. All right. Vacation requests. New vacation request. Request name, going skiing. Who's going skiing? Mike Fudge. Start date, February 14th, 2021. Going skiing for 8 days. Let's make it 5 days. Save it. Okay. Pending requests. Oh, I never wired that button up. Okay, let's wire it up. Okay, what's this button going to do here? That button should simply, on select, it should navigate to the screen vacation requests, right? Let's see if it works. Run it. Pending requests. Hey, there's Mike Fudge's request, going skiing. Click this button. Hey, there's Mike's request, going skiing, right? Not approved. Click this button. Oh, it doesn't do anything. All right. What's this button supposed to do? This button here, on select, this should trigger an edit form. We don't want new form, we want edit form. And we want to do the vacation request form. And then we want to navigate to it. To that screen. So when we hit the add, it was new form. But now we're going to do the edit form version of this. And there we are, right here, going skiing. Skiing and snowboarding. And let's boost it up a couple of days. 9 days. Save it. See, now it's 9 days. Skiing and snowboarding. Go back. Mike Fudge going skiing and snowboarding for 9 days. Seems to work pretty good. Let's see if our delete button works. Oh, we probably should make this button work too, right? That's another way to add a request as opposed to going here and hitting new vacation request. We could hit this button too, but that's pretty easy. It's the same button, so I won't bore you with that. Let's see if the delete works. Oh, it did. See, it deleted. Now I'm on aerial photo. I don't sort of like that. I want it to go back after it deletes. But it did delete. See that? So maybe I should fix that. And let's change this to remove. And then after it removes, let's go back. Good. I wonder what's left in this app for us to finish doing. Let's take a look. Ah, the old publishing. So how do you take this app and get it to work on your phone? You download PowerApps for your phone and you want to run this app on your phone. How do you do that? Okay, so let's go through settings for publishing. All right, we go up here to File. See that? Kind of covers the screen when you do that. It's a little jarring, but something you got to get used to. And then when you hit File, you want to go to Settings. And in here you can change the icon. So I'm going to change it to my nice mint background. And I will change my icon. I'm going to browse for one. And let's pick this FudgeMart transparent logo again. There we go. Yay! The FudgeMart. Blah, 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 blah. Fine. Okay. And then we can go to Save and save it. And usually I've been saving it all along as I've been giving you the demo. I hit Control S at any time and it saves it. And every time you save it, it makes a version. This is what's really awesome about PowerApps is it has multiple versions of your app. Every time I've saved it 3 times. And so this is the published version, the live version, and then this is the most recent version. So I can make any version, the version that everybody sees versus the one I'm developing. So I'm going to deploy this version by going up here and saying publish this version. And basically when I do that, that app is now published, and I can see it. And then I can use share to share the app with somebody else. I can go in here and pick other people in my organization and share the app with them, just like that. And from there, they will see it when they launch PowerApps. They'll see it in their PowerApps home screen right here. Let me cancel that. They'll see it right here in their home screen. Under apps, I'm sorry. See, I have FudgeMart demo right there. So now, unfortunately, it is time for you to leave the nest and to work on some PowerApps on your own. Try to make a screen to approve the vacation requests. So make a screen that allows the user to pick a manager and then then enter the date and then hit save, and then it will consider the request approved. And then put that button on the view screen and then add another screen so that you can see all the requests that have been approved. And let me show you a demonstration of this with an app that I finished. All right, so this one here is one that I did earlier. It does not use the same SQL Server database. It uses another database, so it's going to look a little different. It also has some other features that the other one did not have. Mainly, it has this get my IP address, which actually calls a function that calls a web service to get your current IP address. So I just wanted to show you that you can create any kind of logic you want in PowerApps, even beyond what I showed you, by using the Power Automate tool. And the Power Automate tool is beyond the scope of what we're doing here, but it's so easy to figure out, it's not even funny. There's also a little send an email feature that I added here, but we won't use that either. So let's just get into it. The vacation requests are here, right? I can make a new request, Mike going skiing, and then I'll just pick myself out of here, and then start a vacation February 4th, 2021. And this doesn't work because of the data source I picked, so I have to do this myself. 6. Okay, then you'll see in pending requests, there's Mike going skiing right there. And I can click here and see it says approve request. So you have to add this feature that says approve request. It takes you to this same screen, but it adds 2 boxes. One where you can pick one of the 2 managers to approve that request. And if you can't figure out the 2 managers, just make it show anybody by their job title. And then in here, you can pick the date that they approve the request, and then you hit that button. And now you no longer see Mike Fudge in that request because that request was approved. I have to go back to the approved requests here. And in there, I will see the Mike going skiing request was approved on this date by this person. So what you need to do is you need to add this screen that does the approve requests, that shows you what was approved and when it was approved and who approved it. And then you should also add a button to the pending requests so that you can check the approval and pick out this stuff here to put the approval in. Okay, and that's basically all you should try to do. Not to mention implementing everything I did in the walkthrough. So when you're done, you'll have a full FudgeMart vacation requests app just like mine, except for these 2 buttons at the bottom. You won't have those. Okay, have fun. Good luck. Bye.